Happy New Year! Welcome to the 6th episode of Chairman's Chat. Have you heard of the expression, nothing changes if nothing changes? To me, this is very true. If nothing changes, we stay the same, we don't evolve, grow, or get better, right? Therefore, we need new ideas to innovate, to thrive in this fast-changing new tech innovation era, and be able to add value to society whenever possible. For example, biotechnology continues to make significant contributions to extending the human lifespan and improving quality of life, including medicines and therapies to combat disease and use biofuels to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Besides, Hong Kong is a popular IPO destination for biotech companies. The development of GBA presents a number of opportunities for Hong Kong life science and healthcare sector. Today, I'm honored to speak to my special guest, Mr.柳達, Managing Director of the CRCP Life Science Fund, and also the author of a recently published book on biotechnology investment, to enlighten us on his views on the biotech industry trends, and to share his company, Ceramic's mission in developing innovative drugs to resolve some unmet medical needs. Hi Mr. Liu, thank you for joining me today. I've just received a copy of your best-selling book. I know that this is already out of stock and being printed for the second run. I'm eager to read and learn more about the biotech investment trends. Why did you decide to write this book? What is so unique about it? And what are some of the key messages for your readers?
Thank you for having me here, and those are very good questions. I think there are three purposes for me to write this book. One is to document, because our industry changed quite a bit globally,
right,
and particularly in China in the past 5 years, and very few people to document. So I like to document what happened in the past 5 years in the industry. Second is to educate, so more people can have a basic understandings about our industry. Because right now we see more and more companies get listed here in Hong Kong,
right,
and it's very difficult to find an introductory book about industry and about investment. So I think that serves the second purpose. The third is sharing my insights, because I have been in this industry close to 30 years. I was a pharmacist first, then an executive second, then now a fund manager. So I think I do have a unique backgrounds to share my insights globally and also in China as well. So that's the purpose of the book. And also some key messages here is, one, the takeaway is really invest on innovation. Second, I think the China will be definitely the fast growing region for the next 5 to 10 years. So invest companies related to China. It does mean it's a Chinese company, it's a global company, but related to China. The third is I think we see more and more global collaborations,
right,
because this industry, its DNA is globalization, which means I analyze all the major milestones in the past 30, 40 years. So the conclusion I got is, for any milestone, for any significant innovation, you need global effort, and it takes years to achieve. So I want to stress at that point.
Can you share with us your view on the biotech investment trends in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think that's a great question, because in this book, first of all, I think I'm very fortunate. I was a pharmacist by training about 30 years ago. That's 30, okay. Why is this important? Because at that time, we see some big names, the big multinational companies like Pfizer, Merck, GSK, they become global, start from back 80s and 90s.
Right.
So I pretty much been in this industry for 30 years. So I see the trend. This trend is from chemical compounds only to chemical compounds and then biotech or biopharma. Now I call it life sciences because you're seeing more innovation happening in the past 5 years than ever before.
Right.
Second is, 5 years ago, if you ask me, could China or Chinese companies produce or have an innovative drug? I would probably say no. But now we see more and more Chinese companies, they're capable of producing innovative drugs, not just for Chinese market, but for the global market. So in this book, I document, I think, those trends. Trends means for the industry itself, which therapeutic areas you invest, and on the other hand, which regions you invest. So I would predict for the next 5 to 10 years, the Greater China area definitely is the best reason for me to consider to invest.
So would you recommend companies to go listed in Nasdaq or in Hong Kong for the biotech companies?
It's kind of interesting because in the past, people were no doubt about it. They think, okay, Nasdaq is number one. And that's the preferred choice.
Right.
However, I think as time passed by, as the companies, the startups, or even the banks, they consider this from different angles. For example, they look at it, who provides you capital, who invests in you, the company, and also they look at the market.
Right.
Where is your primary market? So for the company to be listed, you have more selections.
Right.
You want to close to not only capital market, but also patient market. So I think right now for some Chinese companies, I think they beside Nasdaq, Hong Kong is a very good selection. But also I think Hong Kong is not just good for Chinese companies, it's also good for global companies. Again, in this book, I define the Chinese company. I have my own definition.
Right.
Because how you define Chinese companies, my definition is I don't look at your passport, okay?
Right.
I look at where you focus your market.
Where the market is.
Exactly. You can have a different national passport. You can, you're from different reasons, but that doesn't really matter. But if you focus in Chinese market,
right,
I would consider you're a Chinese company.
Right.
Yeah. And also, I think that fit the nature of this business, because the nature of this business is globalization.
True. Yeah. Very true. I understand that ceramics is the first and only clinical stage RNA therapeutic biopharmaceutical company that has some clinical trials in the pipeline. What kind of innovative drugs are they, and what kind of disease can they cure?
That's a very good question, but I'd like to give you a little background on this topic. First of all, you get to understand the importance of RNA technology. Before this COVID-19, very few people realize that or know that. Okay.
Right.
However, people in the industry, like me, how I see this, because we see the chemical compounds as the first wave of innovation. We see the monoclonal antibodies as the second waves of innovation, or disruptive innovation. So I see RNA technology as the third wave of innovation. So that's the background about the trend. RNA definitely play a big role.
Right.
So today, because this day, I think this days, JP Morgan is having conference in San Francisco, but now they go virtual. So RNA technology is one of the hot topic for this conference. So you see the trend. Second, I think ceramics is a very good example how Hong Kong capital market can become global.
Right.
Because ceramics was founded in Maryland, in the United States, but also later on, they start to raise money in Suzhou, in Guangzhou. They moved to China, or part of operations in China, for two reasons. One is people probably already forgot the financial crisis back in 2008.
Oh yes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, biotech industry or biotech companies need money. They need to keep raising funds to to help them with R&D, with clinical trials.
Right.
So usually they go to the place where they can find the capital, and also where it's close to the market. But now Synomics, at least here in Hong Kong, but also Synomics seriously consider and already talk to Hong Kong Science Park to set up lab facilities in the park, because Synomics see Hong Kong as a hub for biotech for the company in entire Asian countries. So I think that's significant. And also in terms of therapeutic areas, these drugs, first of all, it's a technology platform. Second, currently the two key products, one for liver cancer, another for skin cancer.
Oh, okay.
Because right now there's no drug available to treat skin cancer worldwide.
Yes.
It's very difficult.
Yes.
Okay.
Wow. Wow, that's really groundbreaking. So, biotech companies tend to face significant barrier to success. One critical reason for this is that research and development costs for biotech tend to be incredibly high. Starting up a new innovative company, especially within the biotech space, can be very challenging in the new normal era. Can you please share some of your major obstacles and you go about overcoming them?
Sure. I think first of all, again, for the junior audience or for the startups, okay, you have to, because biotech is a long process.
Yeah, very long.
Very long. Start from a discovery to preclinical to clinical, then commercialization.
Yeah.
I think if as a startup, you have to know where is your strengths. You start from that first. Don't consider yourself you can achieve everything along the value chain. It's not likely. Okay, I think that's very important. Second, you get to know which therapeutic areas you want to focus. Again, you can choose the big therapeutic area, small therapeutic area, doesn't really matter, because if you're really good, you're able to succeed. Okay. But for the investors, again, a few things I like to share. One is I usually only invest in the area I'm familiar with. That is important because there are so many technologies, so many new technologies emerge. So you cannot consider yourself or your team as an expert on everything.
Right.
You may be good in a few areas,
yes,
but not on everything. So that's one thing. Second is, I think it's extremely important that as a fund manager, as a fund, the question I ask myself is, what value can I contribute to the company? Can I help the company to grow? Very good example. For example, I'm very close to our fund is based in Hong Kong, so I'm close to the financial market here, so I can help some people, some startups to raise funds, and also I can help them because my background, I've been in the industry for many years, so I can help people or the startups with business development. Again, so you can ask yourself which skills or which value can provide to the company.
Right. China Resources will be joining our first GBA Innovation Camp in May in Shenzhen. We are expecting a good number of startups and high-tech companies participating in this camp. What are your expectations on these companies? And do you see any value in pulling together these companies to brainstorm solutions for the future development of GBA?
Well, I think that's a very good initiative because you provide a platform. You gather people from different areas to meet, to brainstorm, to talk. I think that's a good part of it. But again, biotech company, in order to succeed, you need first of all, it takes a long time, right? Second, you need a lot of money, and also you need many different functional skill sets for you to become successful. So I think it's good together to talk. Yeah.
Lastly, do you have any advice to share with the younger generation as to how to thrive in this ever-changing digital and new era of innovation?
Okay, I think for the younger generations, I think it's very important is you have to have you really have to think about the meaning of your life. We only live once. You want to make your life meaningful.
Right.
You should have a purpose. And the purpose, before you have purpose, you should make a living. You should work hard to support yourself. Okay, so that's for the younger generations. And also, I remember the back days when I was a student in the pharmacy school. At that time, I only have two choices. One is work in the hospital setting. Second is work in the retail setting.
Right.
But today, I want to tell the younger generations, you do have more choices. You should consider yourself and also equip yourself with more professional skills so you can have a more choices in terms of career selections or paths.
Right. Excellent. Thank you for your insights. I'm sure our audience will find it very, very helpful. Thank you, Mr. Liu.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. New year, a new chapter, or the same old story. Ultimately, we are the writer of our own stories. I hope this video inspires your next innovative idea and makes an impact that matters for the greater good. I wish you all a bright and successful chapter ahead.